Hello, hello, and welcome to today's podcast. I have the lovely Josie with me today, and we're going to be talking about all things Reiki and Tarot. And interestingly, Josie and I kind of knew each other for a while, and then randomly, I don't know if you remember this, Josie, but we were both doing that Carrie Green course.
Yeah,
we were both doing that Carrie Green course, and then realized that we obviously live locally beside each other and stuff, and then arranged to meet up and went for a coffee and a photo shoot. Coffee and random impromptu photo shoot in a furniture store. You can view the website for Josie's lovely pictures. And then just kind of kept in touch from there. We're interested in a lot of the same things, interested in our little cacao things that we do together and stuff as well. So cool to have you on today. But do you want to do a little intro to who you are?
Okay, so I'm Josie Heslop of the Red Kite Reiki, based out in Aberdeenshire in Aberdeenshire. So I'm a mum of three, but a Reiki healer, tarot reader, sometime waitress, which keeps me grounded. Basically, yeah, southern girl in the wilds of Scotland, just trying to bring a bit of light to people's lives.
Absolutely amazing. And yeah, you totally do that. I absolutely love your vibe and all your insightful shares. I think you're so authentic in everything that you kind of put out into the world, just sharing it all. But obviously, yeah, you've mentioned a little bit there about what you do, but do you want to just tell us a little bit more about what you offer, kind of thing?
Okay, so obviously there's Reiki healings, which I offer face-to-face for clients who are fairly local, but also I do distance healing for people all around the world who vibe with me and want to receive a healing. And then I do tarot readings for people. Again, the majority of my tarot readings I do remotely. So that's just I'll tap in with your energies and draw the messages through, and I'll type it up and send it to you. It's almost like a love letter from the universe. They're so good, like a written tarot reading, because you can go back to it time and time again and draw different things out of it. I think they're really good, really valuable.
Yeah, I think they're really good as well, because I've had one from you in the past, so yes, I can concur.
No, it's good, because I think when you have a face-to-face reading, you tend to just fixate on one specific thing that's been said, and you sort of forget the other things that are maybe more important. But you just, at that moment, you're not thinking on that level. Whereas when it's written, you different things pop up each time you read it, and you're like, oh my god, yeah, that bit. So yeah, I think it's really valuable to get written one.
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that. Actually, I had a reading years and years ago, and when I was decluttering my house, I came across this reading again, and I was reading through it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it is crazy reading that now. Just, it's like a snapshot of time, isn't it? But then equally the guidance that came through that, I'm like, wow. Yeah,
spot on. That's it. Go on.
No, on you go.
Okay, no, I was going to say I also offer Reiki training for anyone who wants to be attuned to Reiki. I do level 1 and 2, and I will be writing a master's course at some point. I've got people waiting for that.
Who might that people be, Josie?
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I will do it.
A divine timing for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's awesome. I love training people and getting more and more people on the Reiki bandwagon, because there can never be too many healers in the world. I just think everyone needs to be doing it, just even for their own benefit, if not to heal other people. It's awesome tool.
Yeah, absolutely. I said that to a client. I had a client for Reiki the other day, and I said that to her. I was like, have you ever thought about training in this? Because I just feel that, you would be so great and have so much depth of experience that would really support people. So yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, we need more light and healers in the world for sure. So what kind of drew you, I know your dad does Reiki as well, doesn't he? What kind of drew you down this Reiki tarot path? How did that all come about?
Okay, well, I guess I'll start with the tarot, because that was probably first. So when I was a kid, I was always into sort of esoteric stuff. like when we used to go to town like every Saturday, like I'd be drawn to the sort of spiritual bit of W.H. Smith's, and I just stand in front of all the like the books and just like I just loved it, anything to do with that. But it was sort of not really, as with all things, like my family were a bit like, oh no, that's dark stuff, you shouldn't be into that, and so it sort of got pushed out the way. But so I'd ask for tarot cards every Christmas. I'd be like, please can I get some tarot cards? And always no. So I made my own from like a deck of cards.
Wow.
Yeah, and like every Sunday, you know, when you used to record like the chart show.
Yeah.
So I'd be doing that with my tape recorder.
Start.
Yeah, that's it. And I'd be doing my cards. I'd be like, does so and so love me? And like keep doing it until it said, yeah, he definitely loves you. That's not how you're supposed to do it. But that's how I do it. But then yeah, life sort of got in the way, so it just sort of fell away, just sort of going to uni and then work and stuff. But then maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, my brother got really sick, and he's fine now, but like at the time it was like he was given 3 months to live, and we were really worried. And some people were like talking to my dad and saying, oh, I'm sending prayers for Doug, and my dad was like, well, what does that do? What does a prayer do? Because we've never been like a spiritual kind of family. So this lady was like, oh, let's like basically like sending good vibes and positivity to help him get through. And he was like, okay. And then someone else said, oh, I'm sending healing to Doug. And again, Dad was like, well, what's that? So she explained, and he was like, oh, I like the sound of that. So then my dad started learning, and he trained in it. But then when he started speaking about it, I was like, well, I'm quite jealous of these magic powers you have now. Yeah. I want some of this. And I think he also thought I'd benefit from sort of the meditative side of it, with having 3 kids and just a busy life. It was just like meditation was something that I'd never really done before as well. So yeah, that's just been awesome. So from there I just jumped straight in, and just the more and more you do it, you're just like, this is awesome. And then when you can help work with someone else and help them and see the changes in them through it, it's just awesome. So it's just grown from there. And then yeah, the tarot just naturally came back in, and it just feels so natural for me. It's like what I'm supposed to do, all the messages through to help people.
I think you're so like amazingly intuitive with the tarot. it is so incredible. So with regards to the Reiki, you've touched on it a little bit there, but for maybe listeners who haven't tried it or think they might want to try it, what would like some of the benefits be? I mean, to me, it's a bit like meditation. Like when people ask me about the benefits of meditation, I'm like, pretty much everything. Like I feel Reiki is kind of similar, but in theory, what would you say the benefits are?
Okay. I think a lot of the people who come to me have some degree of anxiety and things like that, just with the modern world and the way sort of we're forced to operate in the world at the moment. It just builds up. So I think it's really good for helping with that. And like physical ailments and things like that. So it's just basically, it's a way of connecting in with the universal energy that's around all of us. So it's not my energy. I'm not giving to the person. It's like I'm quite conscious of that I get myself out of the way, and I'm just a clear conduit for that energy. And it's so the experience that each client receives is very unique to them, because it's their own connection to their own energy really around them. It's not me giving that to them. So it's it's a very unique experience for each person. But I think it helps you feel much more connected in with the world. Like immediately after I've received a Reiki healing, as soon as you go outside, it's like the light shifts somehow, and the world just looks somehow brighter, like comes into technicolor, and like you can hear all the birds and everything. You're just like, oh, you just notice things much more. I think it just really helps with like clarity of thought. Like if there's just so much going on in your head, it just draws you down, grounding you, connecting you to the earth, to like gets you out of your head, so then you can just piece through things much more easily and quickly. It can help to release different emotions, like things that you've been holding on to. You know, a lot of people will cry during it. I always cry during a healing. Not when I'm giving it, but when I'm receiving it. And it just shifts things and just helps you, just clears you out basically, to just open you up to the beauty and the wonders of everything. Like
that's such a lovely way of describing it. And as you say, like each experience is unique, and yeah, and I also like each session is unique for each person as well, isn't it? It's like there's
Yeah.
never really two things that are the same. When I go for it myself, I'm always like, oh
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah.
Every time it's like new, and like you just get surprised by it every time.
Yeah.
Don't you? You're like,
Yeah.
wow,
100%.
and like you think you would stop being surprised by it, but you never
No, you don't.
are. Awesome, cool. So like you mentioned your family like before, around the tarot being like a little bit like, no, don't go there.
Mhm.
And I remember growing up, but this was more about Ouija boards, my mom saying, don't ever go like do anything like that. And you heard like, yeah, I mean, even I heard like scary tarot. It's like you stick to the
Mm.
angel cards, don't use the tarot. And there's like such this kind of like fear around using tarot. And I've befriended my tarot again in the past like few years and absolutely love it now.
Mhm.
But yeah, do you want to try and explain a little bit more to people about tarot so there's maybe like can remove this fear and just like why it's such an incredible tool?
Yeah, I think the media and popular culture has a lot to answer for with how it's sort of
Yeah.
portrayed the tarot as like some lady like pulling out all the death card, and it's like, oh, I love the death card. It's my favorite card. It's just like, oh yes, fresh new stuff coming in. It's like, yeah, something might fall away, but welcome the new from that. But anyway, that's aside. I just think, yeah, the tarot, people sort of view it very much as like you're going to predict the future for them and you're going to tell them what's going to happen, but I very much don't use it as a predictive tool. It's much more about bringing clarity to the now and the present moment, and offering guidance and support around that. So like I was saying before, like a written tarot reading, it's like a letter of support, and it will look at where you are now and the blocks that you're experiencing, and it will offer you like it will show you keys for how to like unlock your potential and like the different paths that you could be choosing to go on. And then it almost like asks you questions to then be like, well, actually, yeah, what do I want to do? And like choosing your own path and forging your own future, which is what free will and your own sort of path is all about. But yeah, I think a lot of people think it's going to tell you exactly what's going to happen, but yeah, it's not. It's not about that. Yeah, I just like when I use it personally, it's such a comforting support kind of thing where it will just sort of like I'll often ask like, what do I need to focus on today kind of thing, and whatever card will come up, and it will just sort of change your attention a little bit from what you were maybe like stuck in your head about, and you're like, oh, maybe I should actually be thinking about being amongst friends a bit more today or something like that. And that in itself is like a guidance, to just experience a bit of joy today, or and you're like, yeah, why didn't I even think of that? It's like a simple thing, because that's the thing. It's like you hold all the answers inside you, and it's just about drawing that out from you.
Yeah, I think sometimes that's the annoying thing as well, though, isn't it? You're like,
Yeah.
you know the answer. You're like, oh, I don't want to know that. Like,
Yeah.
tell me again, something different.
Yeah. Because it does, quite often, like, the cards do just hammer the message home in like until you get it.
Until
It's
you
just like,
do take
no, this is
action.
what you need to be looking at. You're like, stop it. Yeah.
Totally. I love, and as I say, like I found this new love of my tarot. I actually did a course at New Year, which was about manifestation, and it was manifestation using tarot. And I'm like, why have I never thought about using like the energy of the tarot in this way? Like never, or getting insight on the things I was looking to like so incredible, so many different ways you can use it. So if somebody was just like starting out, like they're listening today and now they're like, actually, maybe I will have a look at that tarot deck that I got free with a magazine when I was 18 and I'm now 40.
Yeah. And that.
I think there's so many people probably do have tarot decks at home and then like just don't know how to use them. Like, where could they start or use it to support themselves?
Okay, so I think the best thing to do is to get a blank notebook and every page have it for each of the cards, and then to produce sort of your own almost like a guidebook for yourself of what each card's meaning is and what you get from each card. And then I would pull a card every day, so just shuffle, and then I would normally think of a question, either, like I said, what do I need to focus on today, or what do I most need to know, and then pull a card, and then just sit with it. Just like, don't worry about what the guidebook says is the meaning of that card. Just look at the colors, look at the imagery, like the energy of the card, like what's happening in the card, the story of the card, even how does it make you feel, and just jot all those things down on your in your journal for that page for the card. And then just go about your day, and then at the end of the day return to the card again and just be like, oh, how did that play out today? And then again make some notes about that. Like and I think that's how I learned the tarot. I was just self-taught in that way. Just really, I think that way as well, it like forces you to tap into your intuitive sort of senses a bit more, rather than just going with the stock meanings of what the cards mean. It forces you to draw out your own sort of insights as well.
Amazing, cool. Yeah, that's such a great way to start, because I've got a tarot deck. I've got a few tarot decks, but I think the first one I ever had was like massive, and it was from like the Works or some like store from however long ago, or free with, as I say, with a magazine, or but no, I love them, and I love all the like the tarots that you share on your socials and things like that. It's just so
well, I think as well, like with the tarot, because there are so many different decks and so many different styles of like the imagery, like the artwork and things. I think a great way to start is to get something that's based on the Rider-Waite-Smith, sort of the traditional tarot system, because there are slightly different ones. But you don't necessarily have to get their specific deck, but one that's based around that follows the same sort of structure. But then I think just get a deck that you feel most drawn to in terms of like the imagery and things, because you're more naturally sort of vibe with it, I guess. And I think, there's different, I've got so many decks, but like there's different ones that I feel drawn to, particularly for different clients and things. I'll be like, oh no, this one's for you, or whatever. And it seems to sort of steer towards what the person needs.
Awesome, cool. So you mentioned obviously like the Reiki and the tarot, but what other things do you use for you to support you mentally, emotionally? What kind of things keep you in balance?
I think meditation is incredible. Like I do that, like I should do it daily, as we all should, but I'm not the best. But I try to do it, at least every few days. Even just like quite short ones, like 5 or 10 minutes. And it varies what kind of meditation. Like I've always sort of gone back to guided meditations, but every now and then I'll just like, actually, I just want some nature sounds on, or just some music on, and just sit with that. Like I really value just time on my own, and just like getting that headspace to just not think almost, and just clear the head, because it's just like when I look at my
with
calendar,
3 kids
so
and working, it's going to be a busy head, isn't it?
It is. And like my calendar's so full at the moment, and it's stressing me out a little bit, and it's just like, actually I just need to take a few minutes to just sit in nothingness and not think about that. And that again brings you into that whole present moment thing, which is where we need to be, because then everything is clear. You don't need to be worrying about what's coming up next week or whatever, or what's been going on last week. It's just now, here. So meditation is really good for that. Also just being out in nature, like I love the trees. Like I'm lucky I've got a dog, so it's an excuse to get out like amongst the trees and walk every day. And I live quite close to the river, so that's nice as well, like the sounds, and just again it's just the stillness and alone time. And I draw a lot of messages from nature, like from
I was going to say that. I know that you like to share a lot of the symbolism that comes to you in that stillness.
Like the birds, definitely, they definitely I love it. I'm all into all of that. But then also like I do a bit of yoga, and just dancing around my house and stuff. I find that quite grounding, just to really get into my body sometimes, just be like throwing weird shapes, just to like feel into like every bit of my body, rather than just like, you just sort of go into autopilot, don't you? You don't even notice that you're inner body. And it's like, yeah, so that's a big
amazing
thing.
I love that. And then obviously you've mentioned nature, but what other kind of things inspire you, like what? Well,
obviously, nature, but then I find just like anyone speaking passionately about anything that they find really interesting, I'm just like, oh, that's amazing. Like, it makes me want to learn stuff and like do more things. So I'm just like, oh, that's awesome that you can talk so like deeply about how much you like playing the flute, or how much you like making soap and things like that. And it's just like, oh, I love that. It just, other people's passion, I find it quite infectious to then inspire me to be like, I want to do something. Like,
I love it. Yeah, no, definitely that. I love seeing that as well. And just, one of my friends who is a Reiki healer, he helps me with my Reiki for my community. He's a bit older, but he is so passionate about classical music. And I just like, it really inspires me because he creates these playlists for doing the Reiki that will invoke different feelings and sounds. And I love listening to him speak about it, and like, wow, you get so much from that. And definitely.
I guess it comes back to that whole energy thing, because it's them sharing their positive energy with you, isn't it? It's like when you start speaking about something you love, you just sort of radiate that whole sort of passion thing, and then it just falls on everyone else. They're like, oh,
that's so true. I love that. I actually like witnessing that with clients and with coaching clients. They'll be like, oh, blah 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 blah, whatever's going on, and then they'll speak about something that really lights them up, and I'm like, look at how your body has changed, your energy changed. Like when we, it's so important. Passion is so important, isn't it? To
definitely
connect with. You got me thinking now. What shall I be passionate about this weekend?
That's it. Do something.
Amazing. So my book, podcast, community, everything is all focused around this sensation of freedom. As you mentioned, like in today's world, we can feel so trapped and stuck. And even as you mentioned there, like even in your own body, like you kind of can sometimes feel this disconnection. But what to you gives you this sensation of being free?
It's quite tricky, I suppose. I think a lot of it comes down to, again, being on my own, like, and not having to deal with the demands of other people and things like that. Like, that gives me a sense of freedom. I'm just like, oh, it's just me. That's like, I really value that. Like, even just like when I get in my car, I'm just like, me, the music on, and just like, it's like, like being in my car is like a big thing. So I remember I was speaking to a counsellor a couple of years ago, and I think at the time I didn't have a car, and I was just like, I feel so trapped, I feel so limited. And I said, just being in a car just makes me feel like really useful somehow, and just free, and get the music on. And it's just, it was obviously really important to me somehow to get that space. And again, being in nature and just all of that, and amongst friends, like that uplifting laughter and
no, I can totally relate to that. I'm the same with my car. Like I love to just go put on a podcast, drive, take the dog for a walk, go whatever. I haven't driven for like coming up for 3 weeks now, because I've had this inner ear balance thing. So I can relate to you saying like not having a car and that sensation of like, oh, like I need to find the freedom elsewhere. But there's something so freeing about that. Just taking off, having that private quiet space, isn't it? Like no one can see you or hear you sing.
They might see you through the window and just think,
totally.
I get a fright.
Once you're rocking out, and then you're like, oh they can't see me.
Totally in the zone.
Amazing. So if anybody's been listening and they want to connect with you to find out about Reiki, Tarot, or anything else, like the training or anything else you've got coming up, what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
I'd probably say via Instagram. Like, I hang out there most of the time. I just love the community vibe of Instagram. I've made quite a few friends, like clients and things through it, and built up quite strong friendships with people through it. Like, I love Instagram, which then obviously feeds through to Facebook. So if you're a Facebook person, I'm obviously still on there. Then the website, redkitereiki.com. So it's got more information about my services on there, and you can book via the website directly, or you can send me a direct message to book in for any of my offerings.
Amazing. Cool. So I will share all of Josie's links as well, so that you can go check out her website, give her a follow on Instagram, and yeah, just connect in more with her vibe, her wisdom, her intuitive insights are so great that she shares. Yeah, I just love it all. Is there anything else you want to add before we jump off today?
Oh, I forgot, I do have a YouTube channel as well. It's a little bit neglected, but hopefully I will get back into it.
That's right. I remember you used to do though. Yeah, your readings.
Yeah, so I do like pick a card tarot readings on that. So there'll be like a general over theme of the reading, and you just pick which pile you feel most drawn to and get some messages that way. It's a bit of fun, but like, yeah, I need to get back into that. But that's another way of keeping up with what I'm doing.
Amazing. Cool. Yeah, so go give or subscribe on YouTube as well, and you can stay up to date with everything that's going on there. But yeah, I cannot wait for us to meet up again soon for a cuppa and connect, and it'd be so lovely. I think, yeah, the past few years, obviously with COVIDville, it's been a challenge to plan anything really, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, it'll be so nice to connect again in the future. So yeah, go check out Josie, connect with her. Any questions coming up for you, please reach out to either of us, and we will speak to you soon.
Yay.
Bye.
See you later.